Okay, so for this exercise, we're considering a multifamily house with 2 levels and different kinds of spaces like a bedroom, bathroom, hallway, storage space on both of the levels. And as the first part of the exercise, we need to make a project parameter that has the name Uniclass code. And later we are going to add the corresponding detail by using detail on the CISC Uniclass classification system into this space, and it's going to be done by the Dynamo itself. We can see here the table Uniclass single floor house. On the column number 2, we have the room IDs for each of the spaces that we have, and on the column number 1, in the column A, we have the Uniclass classification that we want to later see in the project parameter in each of the room. Okay, so when we dive deep into the Dynamo code itself, we have divided it into 2 parts. The first part is data extraction from Excel, and the second one is setting the parameter code. In the first part, we are choosing the file path node, then we're bringing the Excel sheet with the data. The stream node here helps with page naming, which is the room code. Then we're using the file from path node and feeding that into the data import Excel. Later on, we're transposing the list that helps us to switch the rows and columns of the Excel data, because data is usually stored in columns in Excel. Then later on, we use the CICS IDs and room names, which are the list last item and list first item nodes, and they are used to separate the 2 columns. One is used to get the room names, and the other is used to get the room IDs. And later on, when we want to set the parameter code, we are using the code block that creates a list of numbers, which are the Revit element IDs. And the element by ID node right here is used to list the number IDs to get the corresponding Revit from elements. Then this string Uniclass code is the exact name of our project parameter. And the element set parameter by name node is used to later set the value of this parameter for each of the elements. And when we run the script, we will later see that each of the rooms has now the CICS classification code system, and it's going to be different for each of the room. So in this part of the Dynamo script, we're trying to import the parameter names, the name identification, room ID, color, material finish of the furniture into the furniture category in the Dynamo. For that, we are first going into the model and checking if we have the parameters, and we don't. We don't have it for now, but when we run the Dynamo script, we're going to see that all the parameter names from the Excel file, just right here, they were imported into the model itself. For that, we are dividing the code into 2 parts, the first part being importing the file, and the next one is being setting the furniture parameters. For that, we are using the data import Excel node. Our sheet name is names. We're transposing the list later on from the vertical to horizontal, and we are going to see the list of the parameters here. Later on, setting the furniture parameters, the list of parameter names from Excel was connected to the parameter name input of the parameter create project parameter node. And furniture, we are doing all that, and then furniture elements were filtered, the furniture category was selected, and all elements belonging to this category were retrieved using the all elements of category node. We are retrieving the IDs, and these IDs were then used to obtain element references via the element by ID node just right here. And we already ran the script, and now we will see if our furniture has the parameters, and it does. So these are the parameters we're going to be working with further. So in this part of the Dynamo script, we wanted to automate the process in order to not to make the table ourselves for the furniture parameters. And we are using the data export to Excel node in order to do this. We choose the file path in this file. We're setting the start row and start column to 1. The data is set to the string is set to data, and these element IDs that we have retrieved from the furniture category are listed just right here. There were 31 pieces of furniture that we have, and we're setting the data, the boolean, to true. And when we run the script, which is completed, we get this table, and we can see here that we have a total of 31 pieces of furniture. Later on, we want to make a horizontal line and then fill the data so that it's easier for us to work with. So in this part of the script, we are continuing the process by exporting into an Excel sheet the horizontal information being the furniture parameters. The first part of the code is Here, the values of each parameter are obtained using the parameter value node. We are choosing the values from the furniture category, and then these parameter values are prepared to be compiled into a list using the list create node. Later on, in the parameter name, we're splitting the name itself because we have this specific way of writing the name where we are splitting it to distinguish the structured names, and the number of components resulting from the split is counted using list count right here. And a filter is applied using more or equal to logic to identify parameter names that follow a structured format. And based on this Boolean condition, only the structured parameter names are retained using the list filter by Boolean mask. After this process, we are exporting furniture parameters horizontally. And when we run the script, we get the file. Well, previously we have imported this information, and now we are exporting this information. So now we can fill in the data right here with random things.
This part of the video is going to be about task 5. Regarding task 5, this is the Excel sheet. In here we have all the parameters, and in here we have the IDs for all the furniture. And for this part, this is all the data that the dummy data that we've provided. We'll go very quickly through the Dynamo. For the Dynamo, it's 3 parts. There's this part that is for the importing of all the data to the Revit, and here we have 3 different checks to check over the data. So we'll very quickly run the Dynamo script. The run is completed, so if we go for the Revit to check everything, we're gonna go for the furniture schedule. And in here you can see all of the IDs that we had, and corresponding here is all the data that we've provided, the dummy data. As you can see, everything is imported. For the checking part, we will have to go to the Excel sheet and, for example, remove this part. So now we have to save, and then we go back to the Dynamo and run it again. So when we do that, we get warnings. So for the first warning, we have here this one checks if any element ID is empty. And since we emptied one, we have a warning here that says that look at the watch node to know. And in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth element does not exist. And if we go back here to the Excel sheet, we're going to find that we've actually removed the fourth elements. So now the check works. For this one, this checks over the parameters since all of the parameters remain okay and untouched, so everything's okay in this list. If one of the parameters was removed, then this warning would fire. And then here, this final one is check for the data type. Now this one is getting fired because it's not programmed to get a null. So when we removed the ID that we've removed, it received a null here, and it shouldn't get a null. That's why it's giving a warning. And the warning here will be not in the fourth place, it will be down because in here I flattened all the lists, and that's why you would find it in the 42, because the input here is different than on the top part of the script. And thank you. In this part, we're gonna discuss task number 7 for the temperatures. As per the requirements, we have a sheet for every room that records the temperature every 10 seconds, and in total we have 12 rooms, so therefore we have 12 sheets. And this is gonna cause a problem that I'm gonna discuss right now. So after that, we're gonna look at the Dynamo. So for the Dynamo, very quickly, I did the import Excel dynamically, so I don't have to import sheet by sheet. All of them are being done very quickly. And then I do it in a list map, and then I have to do this data processing because whenever I try to process all the data points, there are about 2 million data points. If I try to process them all at the same time, I run into a memory error. So that's why I will run the script because it takes some time. I'll pause the video and then resume it back when the script is run. So the script has run. As you can see, this extracts all the data automatically from the Excel, and those nodes process all the data. And then, as you can see here, the 12 JSON files have been created, and this node automatically assigns all of them. And then when we go to the Revit to check the results, we can go to room schedules, and as you can see in temperature underscore data, you can find all the JSON files with all the temperatures data. This part is for task 8. Task 8 follows exactly the same logic as task 7. I import all the data from the Revit, and then I do data parse. Until this point, I get back the 2 million data points that I had. Again, I have to diverge them in blocks because I always run out of memory and Dynamo crashes. And then I just do some transformation, get rid of the date and time aspect, and then calculate the average. I'll pause the video because this code takes around 5 minutes to run, and then I'll come back with the results. We're back and the script is working. So as you can see here, it calculated all the averages, and yeah, sometimes it's a bit buggy, but did them in a list just to see all the averages of all the rooms, and then we imported them in this inside the Revit, which we can take a look at if we go to this schedule. Yeah, so here we have the temperature data average for all the rooms, and that's it for this task.
Okay, so for number 9, we aim to do the model check through the Dynamo, check if all rooms and furniture items have the parameters value. We go to the Revit that we show that previously we already assigned all the parameters value into the furnitures and rooms. So we get the properties such as the asset ID and its value, color materials and its value. So we need to check if any furnitures or rooms that doesn't have this kind of value. So if we go to the Dynamo, first thing first, we need to get the parameters value through the categories node. By selecting the rooms and furnitures, we connect it to all elements of category and combine all the rooms and furnitures into list create, and we gotta output all the names for the furnitures and rooms. And on the other side, we put the name of list required parameters through a string, such as the asset ID. We put the exact name of the parameters in the Revit, and in the end, we aim to check the result if the parameters already have the value or not through the parameter by name nodes. So for example, from list number 73, which is the furniture, it doesn't have the Uniclass code because it belongs to rooms, but it has asset ID, color, material finish, the value for the parameters of furniture. So to check 9.2, check if the classification of room complies with formal rules according to the CICS. We go to the Dynamo to get all rooms. The categories is quite the same with the previous step. In 9.1, we want to know the rooms, categories of rooms, connected to all elements of category. We want to know the specific parameters that is Uniclass code, and we connect it to element get parameter bar value. On the other hand, we try to put the valid Uniclass code from the CICS classification code. We put the real name or the valid code from the system, such as the SL4510-1 as a string, and the other code. We connect it to the list contains as the function, and after that, from those two groups, we connect it to the list map. So we get the result for false and true. It indicates that some of the rooms is already comply with the valid Uniclass. We actually in the last part we connected to the list filter by BUILD. So in this step, we can get all the rooms name divided into in and out, which is in. Actually, the in is actually the invalid parameters. So out is actually the valid parameters. So from what we try to check from the model, we get there are still 30 rooms that doesn't have a valid Uniclass code, but the other 12 rooms is already have the value.